problem with people like Morara is, because he thinks he's a carpenter, is closer to Christ.
Welcome to my channel. So if you missed the epic confrontation between Kasmuel Makaure and Morara Kebaso, which took place last Thursday, I'll fill you in. It seems like the rivalry between the two of them is rife, leading to a debate on who is the organic Gen Z leader. So let's just hear what else went down.
People close ranks. In fact, there was a reference from Morara when he said that he injected you and it's working, and whether you're a member of ODM or not. Should the younger people now start to think of how to close ranks with the political class in order to then be the ones to take over power? Because the reason why I'm asking this conversation is the president himself said that he will continue to reach out to Kenyans from all walks of life, regardless of their ideological persuasion, to maximize cross-pollination of the flower of our republic and ensure robust seeds for the future seasons.
Trevor, I think I've said this time without number, and I'm a person who does not hide any of the moves that I make. Whenever we were on the streets agitating for good governance, the war on graft and accountability in government, I went all out. Then when I realized that there were some sinister machinations with some of the people who are on the front lines being super obsessed with grant writing and fundraising, chanting down with American imperialism by day, at night going to have meetings at the embassy, everybody chanting Ruto must go in the morning, and in the evening trying to secure appointments with the state, I realized that we're dealing with a political problem. And this is where now I would like to put every political party that is on this table to the light. Because if I start with, for example, the Jubilee Party is a party that was formed when I was in first year. And I've never seen any solid grounding in terms of ideology from that party. And it was, if you think about it critically, formed as a special purpose vehicle, just like UDA, to win an election. If you think about Inject, it came at a time when we had agreed that we were supposed to just keep this as a movement. But then a man who once went on record asking us, what do we mean by Ruto must go, comes along and whips up the public's emotions, sources for funds, some from dubious sources, and because it has to be justified in the public, culminates into a party which lacks ideology, a party which founding members and strong members have come out to castigate, to say that the party leader is serving nothing but self-interests. And
I really disagree with that statement of dubious sources, because you can't just allege that unless you have evidence, Kasmuel.
And this is something that we had seen prior, and this is why there are reasons why I could not work with such a party, because you find there's a party where a man has just shown up, and then the party chair is his classmate, then he's just surrounded by a few men with dubious characters. And the problem with people like Morara is, because he thinks he's a carpenter, is closer to Christ. You think about the UDA, which is also...
So that jab about being a carpenter is because Morara runs a furniture business.
A special purpose vehicle to win an election has no grounding in ideology. So I sat down and analyzed in the political sphere, because remember, I used to lead an organization that was called the NCCPA, that had 67 organizations, had social justice centers, had some political parties in there, but with a realization that there are people who are just committed to empty sloganeering. Amilcar Cabral says, we cannot do away with imperialism by hurling insults at it. We will not deal with President Ruto. We will not ensure he leaves office by chanting Ruto must go. We have to organize. And I looked at this political scene when I said it categorically that for me now I'm taking a political angle. And I wanted to join a party that had grounding, that had stood the test of time. In a country that is littered with epitaphs of unmarked graves of opposition parties that have not survived the test of time, I looked for a party that aligned with my values. And the ODM party is a center-left social democratic party, which quite aligned with what I was looking for. Constitutional reforms in this country have been driven by the ODM. Electoral reforms have been driven by my party leader. There's no single individual who has tested election laws as much as my party leader, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, has.
But he ruined it by joining Ruto, and that's why he's facing backlash at the moment, especially from Gen Zs.
The opposition of the Finance Act, which members from the Jubilee party as well participated, were driven by the ODM as well. The push for devolution support, because remember, yes, while we talk about devolution and say that it has its own weaknesses and the bloated government, it also ensures that we do not have state capture, as we've seen this year, where the executive and legislature want to capture development and everybody. So it seems as though devolution is not working, and we know why we got devolution. And if you think about justice for the victims of police brutality, we think about Baby Pendo. We think about the people we've lost. The Orange Democratic Movement has consistently been at the forefront of fighting for these issues. If you're thinking about youth empowerment and policies, seeking to address unemployment and these policies, the ODM has these things. It does not have them just as a manifesto, because it has not yet managed to capture state power, but it has consistently proven and sponsored bills in parliament through to look for these things.
So is it time that the younger people meet the
president? Yes, if you think about food and economic security, if you think about human rights and advocacy, that is why I looked at this thing and said, I will take a political angle. And this was an agreement by several young people. That's why you find these political parties can exist in this particular atmosphere. The thing that we kind of missed out on, the political class only decided to address itself. And this is us reintroducing ourselves to them. While I might...
But Shokon Casmuel, I think ODM recruited him with the hopes of him attracting fellow Gen Zs to that party. So I hope his hopes are not going to be stifled like Babu Owino and Sifuna, who are stars, but because there is a cement ceiling in that party, they are not being allowed to really flourish.
Find fault with all these political parties. We know now that if we need to have a conversation with President Ruto, because he refuses to listen to us as ordinary citizens, he will listen to Morana as a party leader. He will listen to Angie as a leader of youth. Yes, and to his policy advice, I hope that he actually listens. We must continue to find sustainable ways to do this, because we cannot keep on donating our bodies to the street so that people come and perform capture harvest. If we think about it in that particular way, we have to, if we indeed intend to cause a political seismic shift in this country, we must involve ourselves in the politics. It might not be popular, these might not be popular decisions, but I keep on telling people, if you look for a party that works for you, Arnold has found one, Morara has one, Angie has one, but if you're looking for a progressive, pro-people movement that has consistently fought for the rights and basic human dignity of the people, you can only find it in the Orange Democratic Movement.
Yes, let me just say this. My brother Kasmuel has said that, well, sometimes I think because I'm a carpenter, I'm closer to Christ. And it will not be further from the truth. I am indeed close to Christ. But you see, the problem with our friend Kasmuel is that he thinks that because Akili ni nywele and he has a lot of it, then he knows more. The truth is that whatever he is doing at ODM is something I did there 7 years ago.
No wonder Morara seems to be well versed about how these politicians move.
I was a youth leader in ODM when I was 22 years old.
Prove it, because this is just hearsay.
I even have a picture I'm going to show you right now. Just right now, not later. I was in ODM together with Babu Owino a long time ago. In fact, I remember at that time, I spent some of my help money to pay for a premium membership. I remember it was Kenya shillings 20,000. I had a lot of hope in ODM. I believed in it. My parents have supported ODM. I was at ODM at some point, so whatever he's doing now is something I did 7 years ago. So in terms of experience, political experience, I'm 7 years ahead of him, and I can give him a little bit of education about what happens in ODM. The first thing I'm going to tell him is one of the reasons we have corruption in Kenya is because there is corruption in political parties. Because when you sell tickets to candidates at a cost of 10 million to be a member of parliament, the first thing this person, when he becomes a member of parliament, will do will be to recover the money that they have spent.
I want us to stay away from hearsay.
Now we're wondering.
All right. Then can the younger people
let's go into
so that
because we could also say the same of inject.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let me ask this question. Which are some of the most corrupt counties in Kenya in terms of the corruption index, wastage of public funds? Because corruption is not only in the UDA government.
The EACC has investigating all the counties.
The corruption
come back
is
to how
also
the young people organize to take power. You have started your own party.
Let me just finish on my point.
To meet the president
corruption
so
is also. Do we agree that there's corruption in ODM counties?
In all counties.
We agree. Let's
have said that
there's corruption in the inject as well. We've seen
actually,
it.
corruption is a Kenyan problem.
Yes, said that.
In your own party, which is supposed to be
Let's
revolutionary,
come back to
the main members.
The main idea is how do the young people organize
so that you
to participate,
make a change in
to participate either in leadership or to take power. Definitely, joining the mainstream political parties is not the way.
Okay.
Because when we went for the Gen Z protests, we were denying or we were rejecting the old order of things, where there is mainstreamed corruption in our government, assisted by political parties, which they themselves have become corrupt within their ranks and encourage corruption and tokenism. So the best way would have been to run a movement based on new values, based on the new Kenya that we want to see as young people and the future that we want. Now, most of the political parties in Kenya, and this you'll agree with me, are actually ethnic based. So you'll find there's a political party in Kenya for the people of Western, all right, like ANC and Ford Kenya. You'll find that there's a political party which most of its support comes from, like he joined ODM because he's from that ethnic community. They want to hold meetings in Doluo. So that is.
Yeah, that surprised a lot of people because Caswell was very loud about chanting how the Gen Z movement was tribeless and leaderless.
Why he thought it wise to join ODM party.
So you of ODM is from the Western region, but that's not the answer.
So that's a different
because of that,
if you come back,
are ethnic. We are discussing political parties. Let me make my point slowly, because this is a new thing I'm introducing, so you'll not understand it. You're interrupting me because you're thinking the old way. I'm teaching you to think the new way. The old political parties have been based on ethnic communities. Now, one of the biggest problems we have in governance today in Kenya and in corruption is ethnicity and negative tribalism, where when someone steals money meant for a public road or a hospital, they run back to their tribal base and say, we are being targeted because we are Kikuyus. Hawa wanatuonea kwa sababu sisi ni Waluya.
That's true. Judging from what Murkomen said like 2 weeks ago, he said Ruto is being targeted because he's a Kalenjin, just the way Moi was targeted.
This is not about me, it is about Sisi, Wakamba who are targeted. So we need to do away with negative ethnicity. We just need to celebrate ethnicity as part of our identity, but it should not be a reason why we make political decisions. Now, the people who can lead the way in ending negative ethnicity in Kenya are the young people. And the reason the young people are the best candidates for that is because the young people, most of them have studied and have been exposed outside their counties. So you study in primary school where you were born, but you'd go maybe to high school in Machakos or in Western. Most of them have actually married or are dating girlfriends that are not from their ethnic communities. Some of them are a benefit of intermarriages across communities. You'll find your father is Luo, but your mother is from Kamba. So it is harder to sell tribalism to the young people of Kenya than it is to sell to our parents. That's why when we went for the Gen Z demonstrations, we said categorically, we are not our parents. So the best way for young leaders, because now we are talking about young people, these young people are going to be organized by young leaders like myself. The best way to do it is to form political parties that are not based on ethnicity. To form political parties that are nationwide.
Completely new.
The Secretary General of the Inject Party, he talks about the Inject Party not having an ideology. The Inject Party has an ideology. We have a party constitution. We have a party slogan saying, tunaamini itabadilika. We believe that it will change. If you look at our policy, if you look at Article 2.3 of the Inject Party Constitution, number 1 is to fight corruption. Number 2 is economic transformation. Number 3 is civic empowerment. Number 4 institutional reform. Number 5 environmental sustainability. Number 6 is justice.
But those are points.
Those are ideologies of our party.
Now, this textbook has that.
They might have it in writing. We have it at heart. My Secretary General at Inject Party is a Maasai. It's called Solonka Parade.
Was he or was he not your classmate?
The person who is in charge, look, Orengo was with Raila.
That's what we are saying. What
is wrong with working with my classmate?
Yes, then what is wrong
if I trust him enough to work with him, it's
If he qualifies, I don't see any problem with that as well.
exceptional.
That's what
it's
we're saying.
beautiful.
Morara.
How many classmates are working together?
We don't have a problem with you working
The
with your
Secretary
classmates,
General-
but you blaming other people for doing the exact thing you're doing. Is that what we have?
I've not
what I have
blamed
decided?
Raila for working with his classmates.
Yes. No.
I'm blaming him for taking advantage of the Gen Z demonstration,
Yes.
riding on the blood of the youth who
Yes.
have died
Yes.
to benefit himself economically and have
But you
positions in
also,
government.
you know, you've taken this thing where you want to legitimize your part of the struggle with blood. That's why you would lead people against the popular temper. For example, you took your people to Narok where only you were not hurt, but your teammates were hurt. So you want to legitimize your struggle thinking it deserves blood.
Kakaswell is referring to the incident that took place on Mashujaa Day, where Morara decided to take his crew to Narok for a civic education and cleanup exercise instead of joining guys at Uhuru Park for demonstrations. So Kasmuel tweeted, "This was an unfortunate and an unnecessary incident. I hope they recover. That said, the work you do of unearthing incomplete projects can be done without you shedding the blood of innocent Kenyans. Other patriots like Mabonga and many others have done the exact thing bloodlessly. It's not like the projects you have unearthed today were any more dangerous. You don't need violence to legitimize your story. Change your strategy without endangering the lives of Kenyans. If you must be on the streets, be with the rest of the Kenyans. Attend protests. You cannot do it alone. There's a collective celebration of our Shujas at Uhuru Park tomorrow. What was so urgent about recording stalled projects and sweeping in Narok that it had to be done this weekend?"
Only way I become part of my
If you're
team
trying
is
to
I'm is if
transform
I'm
it,
hurt.
no, you're not listening.
Come on, be
if you want to
serious.
truly transform this country, you have to be absolutely honest in your dealings, because the thing which you're doing is trying to, and there's this narrative that you've been trying to see where you're driving sympathy or you're driving, I do not have a problem with you changing campaign financing, I do not have a problem with you unearthing projects. What I have a problem with is you trying to pull certain stunts to try and whip up emotion, because the new thing which you're trying to drive and which even your founding
Let me
members,
agree with you.
yes, even your
we
founding
also-
members,
can we also
if you have a
contribute?
part of this,
Yes,
if he has a thing,
Can we also be part and parcel of this
Yes,
conversation?
yes,
Because you
sorry.
asked the
Yes.
question and it's ended up being a Morara versus Kasmu.
To be honest, nobody wants to hear what Aladwa has to say. I think guys tuned in to hear Kasmuel and Morara because, like it or not, they are the stars in the political scene at the moment, especially when you're talking about the youngings. So obviously the interaction attracted some reactions from netizens. And someone said here, Kasmuel, wewe ni tumbo inakusumbua. Morara is the man. I think that one is suggesting that Kasmuel was bribed to join ODM. Morara is so eloquent and composed, very demure, very cutesy. Morara, you're like an angel. Go. We are really praying for you. I only became active when it's Morara's turn to dispense wisdom. Likes for this bold and intelligent gentleman. Morara is always sober, positive. Viva, Morara, my hero. I like his ideas since day one. Morara, we are behind you. Very smart. Western countries do what you're doing. Well done. The lady was very eloquent too. Yeah, she was, but I can't even remember her name. I think she's called Angie. Really pleased to watch Morara Kebaso. He's in a class of his own. He's articulating issues affecting the people. He's well informed and sequential in his argument. Kindly do us a favor by not having Morara and Kasmuel together on the show. Kasmuel lost the plot when he greedily joined ODM. Let us see Morara debate issues with Omtata, Sifuna, Wanjigi, and Onyonka. I'm privileged to watch Citizen Daily from London. Yeah, so I think she mentioned the four gentlemen because they've been very vocal about how Ruto's regime is driving the country in the wrong direction. Morara Kebaso, I have been listening to your remarks whenever you attend an interview. I have already added you to the list of the greatest minds in Kenya. Keep fighting for Kenya, bro. If you continue with integrity and trust, there is a wonderful place waiting for you. Like Zamorara Huku. The guy from UDA behaved so diplomatic. He's smart. He didn't bother taking a bullet for his government. All panelists were smart enough. Morara's closing remarks were very bold. He did it on camera, on a camera of national TV, telling the president what he didn't want to hear. He got the stones. All the best to him. We love Morara Kebaso. Keep doing what you do. We celebrate you. Morara is just brilliant. If he remains consistent in the coming years, he may just surprise us by being the first young Kenyan president. Morara Kebaso for Kenya president. Morara is a great mind in itself. He's going far. Morara is more presidential, and the lady is smart. I'm watching from outside, but have close ties to Kenya. My observation is that Mr. Ruto has not accomplished one thing, not during his VP time, not during his presidency, and he and his administration will not accomplish anything because his goals and the goals of Kenyans are simply not the same and will never be the same. Morara Kebaso is the real deal. Judging from people's reactions, it seems like Morara is more popular than Caswell. I'm really saddened by how things have turned out. I really hoped these two guys would work together. And I'm sure these guys in power are happy that it seems like the Gen Zs are splitting up. Just let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Like and share this video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. Thank you for stopping by and see you on the next one. Bye for now.